If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
So we are discussing about the topic called as the currency types. Currency types, and there is a difference between the ECC to SAP S4HANA, the various currency types. So just an overview of our yesterday's session. Okay, in SAP ECC for FI, we have only 3 currency types. We are going to be set at a company code level, 3 currency types. And for controlling how many currency types, we can set 2 currency types. Okay, controlling will support only 2 currencies. Okay, only 2 currency types it will get supported. And like asset accounting, how many currency types it will support? 3 currency types it will support. Okay, 3 currency types it will be support. Okay, so because it depends upon the data structure, the currency types are going to be defined. And for FI, we are going to be using called as the OB22. OB22 is the transaction where we are going to be setting the currency types for the FI. So now we are going to be bringing a concept called as the central currency configuration, because all the postings are happening to the same table. Your FI postings are happening to the same table, that is the GL. Okay, your asset accounting and your controlling, everything is going to be happen to one single table from today onwards. Okay, that is called the ACDOCA table, ECDOCA table. Now the currency settings are made at a universal general entry table level. So ACDOCA table is a universal general entry table level. So we call it as the central currency configuration. We call it as the central currency configuration. So how do the currency types are going to set? So we're going to say into the practical. Okay, so if I go into the SPRO, very, very important topic. Very, very important topic.
Mahesh, I have a question here.
Yeah, please.
In ECC system, you said there is a 3 currency types in transaction T code OB22.
OB22.
Yes, but when we saw the OB22 screen yesterday, there is only 3 currency types.
Correct. Only 3 currency types.
So, so how is it configured for different components like asset accounting and controlling? Is it from the same screen or some different T codes?
OB22 is for FI. This is purely for FI. See, if we come and see here, this is purely for FI, not for asset accounting, not for controlling and everything. So this is only for FI. So you can see the first currency, second currency, and third currency. So this is for the BSEC table. So when somebody is going to ask you how many currency types are supported for FI, means the answer should be 3 currency types. One is the first currency always will be a local currency, that is the 10. And the second currency will take it as a 30. 30 is going to be called as a local group currency. And third currency, you can take any additional currency. We have so many currency types. Example, I'm telling. But FI will only support up to 3 currency types. FI support only up to 3 currency types for the reporting purpose. When you go to the controlling, the controlling is going to be having a different settings. Okay, not here. That is very, very important. Okay, the controlling we are going to be setting here. If we go to the controlling, general controlling and organization, and if we go to the maintain, controlling area. So here in the controlling area, we are going to be using a different currency. That is nothing but what is the currency type we are going to be setting over here. What is the currency type we are going to be setting here? This is for the controlling area. Just 1 second. There is I'll switch on to the another network. 1 second. Yeah. Is it clear now?
Yes, Mahesh.
Okay. So in SAP ECC, because of the data structure changes, we can see there is a table. Okay. So if I go to the table, I can see the table. Okay. This is for the controlling. I'll show both the tables here. So which table we need to refer for the currency settings? Which table? All of you. Which table? Most of the people have worked in SAP ECC. Which table I need to refer if I want to see the currency settings for FI in SAP ECC? Anybody? T01A. T001A is the table I need to refer. T001A is the table I need to refer if I want to see the currency settings of my company code. For example, if I'm selecting one company code. Now, if I go into the execution, now here you can see here, okay, this is what exactly, okay, search for the table we are going to be additional currencies for the controlling of the company code. How many additional currencies you have been set to the company code? So this is in SAP ECC I'm saying. Sorry, in SAP S4 I'm looking, but in SAP ECC we have this. Now this table is not available. This is there is a proxy object has been developed for this. But the same thing when you go to the controlling also we have another table. We have a table called as a TKA01 table. Please all of you. So these are all the things we need to refer in the controlling side. So this is for the controlling area. For example, if I go to a controlling area, see how many currencies we can set here. So currency type, okay. So we are going to be saying controlling area USD. Okay, this is the controlling area level setting we can see at the currency type. This is what exactly the currency we are going to be company code to currency, and what is the different currencies we are going to be using. This is the controlling area level. Okay, the transaction code is OKKP transaction code. Just now we went into the transaction code. OKKP is the transaction code. OKKP is the transaction code. If I want to see what is the currency type we are going to be setting. So that is the reason. So in SAP ECC, maximum 3 currencies can be supported for FI, and controlling 2 currencies, and asset accounting 3 types. Okay, but now we are talking about the universal general entry concept. Okay, so how to go to the universal general entry? Where do you set the currency codes? Okay, if I go to SPRO, IMG, in the financial accounting, global settings, we have a ledgers. I'll tell you what is a ledger. How many of you know what is a ledger? How many of you know what is a ledger? A ledger is a book of accounting entries. A ledger is a book of accounting entries which are stored for a reporting purpose, is called as a ledger. A ledger is a book of accounting entries. What do you mean by book of accounting entries? When I call it as a ledger is a book of accounting entries, what do you mean by book of accounting entries? Any transactions which are getting updated to my general ledger accounting, any financial transactions, I'm not talking about other sales or purchases or anything, not other. Any financial transactions which are getting posted in SAP are getting consolidated to my ledger book. That is what exactly you call it as a ledger. A ledger will consolidate all your financial transactions. For what purpose? For the reporting purpose, for the preparation of P&L account and balance sheet, is called as the ledger book, is called as the ledger. So this ledger is going to be defined with the field called as RLDNR. What is the field name of a ledger in the AC DOCA table? If I want to see the field name of that ledger field in the AC DOCA table, what is the field? I told in the introduction classes about the ledger. The field name is always going to be called as RLDNR. RLDNR is nothing but your ledger field name. If I go to the table, SE16N, and if I give the table, ACDOCA table, EDOCA table, there is a field called as RLDNR. If you see the ledger, what is the ledger field? The ledger field is always going to be called as the RLDNR. So the field of RLDNR is specific to the AC DOCA table. I told that the RLDNR field is not mentioned for the BSEC table. BSEC table will never have the field name called as the RLDNR because BSEC table will never store the ledger specific data. BSEC table will never store the ledger specific data. No ledger. So there are 2 types of ledgers, as everybody knows that. Okay, there are 2 types of ledgers are there. One is going to be called as the leading ledger. One is going to be called as the leading ledger, and the second one is going to be called as a non-leading ledger. Second one is going to be called as a non-leading ledger. But in SAP S4HANA, we have one more ledger. In SAP S4HANA, we have one more ledger. That ledger, we call it as an extension ledger. In SAP S4HANA, we have a new ledger called as the extension ledger. Extension ledger. Earlier, the same ledger, we supposed to call it as appendix ledger. In SAP Simple Finance, we call it as the appendix ledger. But now the name has been changed from the 1610 on-premise release. So we are calling it as the extension ledger. So there are 3 types of ledgers we are going to be defining. One is going to be called as a leading ledger. Another one is going to be called as a non-leading ledger. And the third one is going to be called as the extension ledger. Now let me take one company code. Let me take one company code. My company code. Okay, you have a company code in US. Okay, so US 10 is nothing but company code. Your legal entity. US 10 is nothing but your company code. And I have a one company code in Great Britain. Okay, GB10. GB10 is the one company code, and I have one company code called as the AU10 in Australia. There are three different company codes are there. For all the three different company codes, the country is going to be the different. Okay, for US, the country is going to be the US 10, and the Great Britain is going to be called as the GB, and Australia is going to be called as the AU. Australia is going to be called as the AU. These are the country codes. And for every company code, we are going to be assigning one currency. Every company code, we are going to be assigning one currency. For US 10, my local currency is a USD, yesterday's class. And for Great Britain, the GBP, Great Britain pound. And for Australia, AUD. AUD is a local currency. Can I call the local currency as also called as a company code currency? Can I call the local currency also a company code currency?
Yes.
Local currency is always going to be called as a company code currency. Please don't forget. Company code currency type is 10. What is the currency type for the company code currency? 10. 10 is always going to be called as a local currency or as a company code currency. The currency type 10 is always going to be called as. Very, very important. Now, if I see there are three company codes are there, these all the three company codes are having a different countries and a different local currencies. Very, very important. This is what exactly the transaction currency or foreign currency, any currency you can call it. And I'll tell you the reason why you call it as a foreign currency. Okay. So the currency which you are assigning to a company code is called as a local currency, or it is also called as a company code currency. The currency type is indicated with 10. 10 is always going to be called as a company code currency. So every company code or every country will have its own reporting system. Every country you take, it will have its own reporting system. In US, what is the reporting system we are going to be using? US GAAP. US GAAP. US GAAP is a reporting system. We have our own reporting system in US. Okay, there is some standard accounting system. In general terminology, as a layman, what do you call it as? It is an accounting system. It is going to be called as a reporting system. We are going to be calling. In what is your accounting system? Okay, that is US GAAP. And when I come to the Great Britain, we are going to be using the reporting standard called as IFRS. We are going to be using the reporting system called as IFRS. And according to the Australia, we are going to be using the reporting system called as the AU GAAP. There is a separate reporting system is there. Like in India, we have a separate reporting system. In India, we call it as IND-AS. IND-AS is the reporting system. Okay, for every country, there will be having a separate reporting systems we are going to be using here. So for example here, okay, when you come to the US GAAP to the IFRS, when you come to the US GAAP to the IFRS, lot of sessions are different. For example, if I take one session, example, if I'm going to be taking a one session between the US GAAP and the IFRS, okay, US GAAP and the IFRS. Let me take one example. We all know that cost of goods sold account, COGS. We call it as a cost of goods sold account. So when I do the delivery, when I'm going to be doing the delivery or the post goods issue, when I'm going to be doing the PGI, we call it as a PGI, post goods issue. What is an accounting entry at the time of delivery of the goods? When I'm going to be when I'm going to be doing the COGS, cost of goods sold account. Okay, cost of goods sold account is getting debited, and okay, finished goods inventory account. Finished goods inventory account is getting credited. This is accounting entry at the time of delivery of the goods you're going to be doing. So cost of goods sold account is getting debited and the finished goods inventory account is getting credited. But according to the US GAAP, what they want here is, so they want to split the cost of goods sold account. According to the US GAAP, I'm talking. According to the US GAAP, according to the section 2, there is a called as a section 2. Section 2, what they are telling in the section 2, Mahesh, you have to take the COGS account. You have to take the COGS account. And you need to derive the splitting. The splitting should be done like this. What is my, okay, when you take the cost of goods sold account, what is my administrative expense. How much is my administrative expenses? What is my freight expenses? What is my freight expenses? Tell me now. Okay, I want to split this cost of goods sold account to what is the administrative expense. If you're showing the total cost of goods sold account is $100. Example, if you're showing the total cost of goods sold account debited with 100, out of this, okay, now you're taking 100 is the cost of goods sold. Out of this 100, how much is my administrative expenses? Your administrative expenses is okay $50, and your freight expenses is about $20, and the remaining, okay, remaining all will come in showing as other expenses. Okay, other expenses is going to be called as, okay, remaining 30 is going to be called as other expenses. Like this, I want the splitting, Mr. Mahesh. According to the US GAAP, they want to take the cost of goods sold account into the splitting. But according to the IFRS is very clearly telling that I don't want to split the cost of goods sold account. Instead of splitting the cost of goods sold account, the finished goods inventory account has to be get splitted. The finished goods inventory account has to be get splitted because there is a variation is there between the US GAAP and the IFRS. There is a variation is there in the US GAAP and the IFRS. There is one more example. I'll take one more example. This is at the cost of goods sold account level. If I take one more account, what is the one more account? For example, there is a, okay, you're purchasing a machine. You're purchasing a machine, a laptop or any machinery equipments. Okay, machinery. Okay, the account. The total cost of the laptop is 10,000. Okay, the total cost of the laptop is 10,000. Very, very important. When you are going to be doing the delivery of this laptop, okay, you are including the freight expenses also. You are including the freight expenses also. Freight expenses. You are including the freight expenses. The freight expenses is the $200 USD dollars. So the total cost of the machine is, the total cost of the machine account is $10,200 USD. This is what exactly the cost of the laptop. This is the cost of the laptop. So I need to do the depreciation. I need to start posting the depreciation on $10,200 USD. On 10,200. So every year I need to calculate the depreciation and I need to post the depreciation for $10,200 USD. But according to the IFRS, what is IFRS is telling? Your depreciation should be calculated not on 10,200. Your depreciation should be calculated on only the 10,000. By you have to exclude the freight expenses. You have to exclude the freight expenses. Freight expenses should not be included in the cost of the laptop. No, your cost of the laptop or your cost of the machine is only 10,000 USD, not 10,200. Why? Because you are including the freight expenses and you're telling the total cost of the laptop is 10,200. No, according to the IFRS standard reporting. No, sorry. According to the IFRS, it is a 10,200. Your depreciation should be calculated on 10,200. But what is the local GAAP is telling? What is my local GAAP is telling? Local GAAP is very clearly telling that you have to exclude. You have to exclude. Okay, EXC. Okay, CLUD. You have to exclude $200 USD from the machine. No, don't include the freight expenses, Mr. Mahesh. US local GAAP is very strict on calculating the depreciation. So you have to exclude that. Freight expenses is nothing but it is going to be called as something like courier charges or any expenses which we are going to be incurring during the delivery of the goods. So the cost of the laptop is 10,000 only. The cost of the laptop is only 10,000 USD. This is my APC cost. We call it the acquisition and the production cost. So you need to calculate the depreciation not on the 10,200. You need to calculate the depreciation on 10,000. And what happened to the remaining 200? You have to exclude because this is never included as a cost of the laptop. So here also you can see there is a difference in calculating the depreciation for the IFRS and the local GAAP. IFRS and the local GAAP. So every country will have its own reporting system. That is what exactly we are going to be using. US is going to be having a standard reporting system called as the US GAAP, and Germany we are going to be using, or Great Britain we are going to be using IFRS, and Australia we have a reporting system. So what we had, how do we address this? How do we address this? So we are going to be addressing the concept called as the ledger. we are going to be using a concept called as the ledger. There are two types of ledgers we are going to be taking. One is going to be called as the leading ledger. Another one we are going to be calling it as a non-leading ledger. This essential ledger is a separate topic. I'll discuss that. So leading ledger, another one is going to be called as a non-leading ledger. For every company code, for US 10, for GB 10, and for the AU 10, there will be one leading ledger. The leading ledger is always indicated with OL, 0L, not L. Okay, you can call it as a not L. Okay, very, very important. It is a standard SAP. It's the standard SAP ledger. The leading ledger always will be indicated with OL. There will be only one leading ledger you need to define for all the company codes. You cannot have the multiple leading ledgers in a project. If you have 30 company codes or 40 company codes or 100 company codes, the leading ledger will be only one. The leading ledger will be only one. Why? Because the ledger is getting assigned to a specific company code. The ledger is getting assigned to a specific company code. Company code is a legal entity. It is independent. It is independent. One company code is not dependent on other company code. Another company code is not dependent on the third company code. Every company code is independent. Its nature of transactions. Its nature of transactions, very, very important. If I want to do any transactions for the US 10, the transactions are getting posted for US 10, not for the GB 10, not for the AU 10. So company codes are completely isolated, or they are not dependent. They are independent organizational units. So for every company code, I'm going to be assigning one ledger. This ledger is always called as the leading ledger. Very, very important. This ledger is always going to be called as the leading ledger. For this leading ledger, I'm going to be assigning these accounting principles. For this leading ledger, I'm assigning this IFRS. For this leading ledger, I'm assigning this accounting principle. So leading ledger is always going to be called as a parent ledger. Leading ledger is always going to be called as a parent ledger. So whatever the currency settings you're going to be doing from today onwards, whatever the currency settings you're going to be doing today onwards, the currency settings always should be done in the combination of ledger and the company code. So very, very important. It is a certification question now. It is a certification question. The combination of your currency settings should be done at a company code and a ledger specific level. Earlier in SAP ECC, there is no ledger specific. We are going to be doing the currency settings only at the company code level, not at a ledger level. If you go back to your SAP ECC, if I go back to my SAP ECC, so /n OB22, if I come here, you don't see any ledger. You don't see any ledger. You can only see a company code here. You can only see a company code. At a company code level, you're going to be setting the currencies. But now in SAP S4HANA, the combination of the currency settings to the universal journal entry table should be done in the combination of company code and ledger specific. Very, very important. Very, very important here. So if I go to the table, we have a transaction like SPRO, IMG, financial accounting global settings, and we have a ledger now, just now. Okay, ledger. I'll discuss more into the leading ledger and the non-leading ledger in the coming classes. Very, very important topic is there. Okay, ledgers, and you have to go to a ledger. Now, every setting you are going to be making as a financial global parameters is at the ledger level in SAP S4HANA. That is the reason. New GL accounting is a mandatory. New GL accounting is a mandatory. New GL is a mandatory in SAP S4HANA. Very, very important point. This is very, very important point. There are two types of general ledgers are there. One is a classic GL, another one is a new GL. Classic GL, another one is going to be called as the new GL. Classic GL doesn't have any concept of parallel accounting. No, there is no concept of parallel accounting in the classic GL. There is only one ledger. You have to work with only one ledger. There is no non-leading ledgers and any other ledgers. Only classic GL is working only with the leading ledger. That is only one ledger. And there is no parallel accounting concept in the classic GL. No parallel accounting. There is no parallel accounting concept in the classic GL. Okay, I'll discuss when you go to the topic of parallel accounting, I'll discuss about this. What is the parallel accounting? But when you come to the new GL accounting, general ledger accounting, new GL accounting, which has introduced from which version somebody can tell me from which SAP ECC version it has been introduced? SAP 5.0. SAP ECC 5.0 till 4.7 EE. Till SAP version 4.7 EE, there is no new GL accounting. We are still working on the classic asset accounting with only one ledger. There is no concept of parallel accounting. But from the ECC 5.0 onwards, they have introduced a new parallel accounting concept with a new general ledger accounting, where here in the new GL accounting, we have this non-leading ledgers and the non-leading ledgers and the accounting principle. So every ledger is getting assigned to one accounting principle that is called as the parallel accounting. Every ledger is getting assigned to one accounting principle that is called as the parallel accounting. So in SAP, when you go back to your SAP Classic GL, there is no concept of the parallel accounting. Parallel accounting has introduced from the SAP new GL accounting onwards, that is from ECC 5.0. So in SAP S4HANA, I brought here, okay? In SAP S4HANA, yeah. In SAP S4HANA, when you're coming to the topic called as the currencies in the universal and journal, very, very important. When you come to the currencies in a universal journal, which is very, very important here, we need to call as you are doing a new installation of SAP S4HANA or a system conversion to the SAP S4HANA. All the currency configuration can be maintained to a universal journal of SAP S4HANA. Very, very important. This is very, very important. I'm going to be highlighting this point. All the currencies are maintained. All the currencies are maintained, can be maintained to the universal journal of SAP S4HANA. Now we have a concept called as a new setting, not at a company code level, not at a company code level. Earlier the currency settings are maintained at a company code level, but today now you are going to be maintaining the currency settings at a universal journal entry table. So if I go into the SAP, so we have a ledger concept. And in the ledger, we have called as the defined settings for ledgers and the currency types now. Now, OB22 is no more available. OB22 is not available in SAP S4HANA. Very, very important. It will give a warning message to you. When you're trying to access the transaction code called as the OB22, it will give a warning message. What is that warning message? /O OB22. When I'm trying to access the OB22, it will give a warning message. See here. See, this is the warning message. Okay, not here. This is got locked. Okay, so 1 second. I think already I've opened it. Yeah, this is the warning message I'm going to be getting. Now in SAP S4HANA, you cannot access to the OB22 now. What is telling? Use the transaction. There is a new transaction called as the FinSec_ledger to edit the currency settings from today onwards. OB22 is no more available in SAP S4HANA. We are not going to be setting the currency setting. From today onwards, the currency settings are maintained at a universal journal entry table level, not at the component level, not separately for FI, not separately for CO, not separately for asset accounting. So there is a new transaction code called as the FinSec_ledger. So you have to use the transaction code called as the FinSec_ledger. Where is the FinSec_ledger? This is the FinSec_ledger. This is the transaction. Define settings for ledger and currency types. Define settings for ledgers and the currency type. When I go to this transaction, here we have, this is very, very important transaction. So ignore the warning, you will be getting some inconsistency level warning messages. So when your consistency check, ignore them by pressing enter, continue. Continue. This is my leading ledger. I told that this is my leading ledger. Always there will be only one leading ledger. I'll tell you the concept. Before that, I need to go to one by one currency types. Before that, I need to go to currency types. How many currency types are there? How many currency types are there? I want to study them in detail about the currency types. Okay. There is a lot of differences there between the SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA currency types. Now let me go one by one. Some of them have created the new currency types. These all are the new currency types the user has created, not SAP standard. These all are user-defined currency types. You can see these all are user-defined. So for the practice purpose, they have created these all the currency types. Okay. Let me come one by one. There is a currency type called as a 00. What is this currency type is going to be called as? Currency type 00 is always going to be called as a document currency. Currency type 00 is always going to be called as a document currency. What is a document? If I'm posting a transaction in my SAP, I'm posting a transaction. For example, I'm debiting the travel expenses. Travel expenses account is getting debited and my cash or bank account is getting credited. I can call it as a line item. One is going to be called as a debit line. Another one is going to be called as a credit line. I want to post this transaction with how much? With $100 or $1,000 This is my transaction amount. See, very, very important. The words what I'm going to be using are very, very important. This is my transaction amount. Transaction amount. What is the transaction amount? $100 is nothing but my transaction amount. So when I posted this transaction, SAP will be creating one document number. SAP will create one document number. Document number is also called as the voucher number. So document number is 101, 1010, whatever. This is the document number. This is called as a document number. If I open this document number, for example, okay. If I go and see one of the documents, if I go and see one of the documents, for example, I'm seeing one of the documents which I got. This is my document number, company code, and fiscal year. This is the document. You can see this is the document I posted. Example. So this is the document number. So you're debiting the purchase services with the $10,000 and you're creating the bank account with the $10,000. This is the document I posted in SAP. This is the document number. To which company code you have posted. When the document got posted in the February 24, 2021, in the second period, in 2021 financial year, you posted this document in SAP. You posted this. Now, what is the transaction amount here? The transaction amount is USD. United States dollars is nothing but your transaction amount. USD is nothing but your transaction amount. Now, if I go into the AC docker table by using the same document, if I go to the table where the documents are getting stored, the document always will be stored in AC docker table. Earlier it is BSEC table. Now I'll come to the AC docker table. I want to open only one this transaction. Let me show, because today we are discussing about the topic of currency settings. So now today we are discussing about the 00. What is this 00? Let me discuss on that. This is the document. Okay, this is the document. I'm going to be using the AC docker table, and the ledger posting is always done at OL, and I'm giving the company code. 1710 is the company code, and what is my financial year 2021, and what is the document number? This is the document number. Same document number, okay, which is updated in the AC docker table. Now I'm going to the table here. See, very, very important. There are two line items are there. One is the debit line item, another one is the credit line item. Document number is same. Document number is same. Line item number 1, line item number 2, everything is going to be different. Okay, so when I go into the details, here you can see here, balances in the transaction currency. What is your transaction currency? What is your company code currency? What is your global currency? 4 types of currencies are getting updated. The first one we are going to be calling is the balances in the transaction currency. Balances. And the second one, what is the transaction currency? There is a lot of differences there between the balances in the transaction currency and the transaction currency. When I see here, when I see this particular table, the transaction got posted in which currency? When I go to this table, okay, the transaction got posted in the currency called as the USD. USD is nothing but your transaction currency. So what is the currency type? When I want to use the transaction currency, the currency type is always going to be called as a 00, which is also called as a document currency. So when I can call it as a document currency, I'll tell you that. Okay, small example. Yesterday also told, but I want to take small example. I'm taking one company code US10 and the local currency is USD. The currency, what I assign to my company code is called as the USD. When I posted a transaction within the same local currency, there is no other currency. I'm posting this a transaction with a dollar amount. Then this amount is going to be called as my transaction currency. Very, very important. I'm posting a transaction in the same local currency. My local currency is the USD, and the transaction posting in a document is going to be called as the USD. There is no change. This is called here. If I see here, the transaction currency is USD, and my document currency is also USD, and my local currency or a company code currency is also USD. There is no change here. Means what is your transaction? In which currency you are doing the transaction? Okay, in which currency? What is the posting? What is the document you have created for the transaction? That is USD. This is your transaction currency. If I double click, this is your transaction currency. USD is nothing but your amount. Now, then there is another thing. What is the document currency? How you differentiate between the company code currency, document currency, and the transaction currency? Transaction currency is very clear for us. Transaction currency is nothing but the currency for which a document created is called as a transaction currency. Here in this example, it is a USD. Now, what is the document currency? You have created a document, means a document got created for your both the line items, the debit line item and the credit line item. You have created a one document. In which currency the document was got created? The document was got created with a currency called as a USD, which is going to be called as same as my local currency. So this is called as a document currency. What is the company code currency? The company code currency is the currency which you have assigned to a company code. Here, my company code currency is a USD. Why? Because if I take my USD, US10 company code, what is your currency? USD. So my company code's currency is same as my document currency or not? Definitely. So here my company code currency is same, my transaction currency is same, my document currency is same here. Now I take one more example, same example with one more. Travel expenses account debit to cash or bank account credit. Same transaction, very, very important. Same transaction. Here I'm posting 100 euro, not in dollars. Very, very important. 100 euro. 100 euro. Okay, I'm posting not. Company code is same. No change in the company code, Mahesh. Company code is same. Company code is the US10, and my local currency never changes. My local currency always will be the USD only. No change. You cannot change the local currency at any time. So this is the one more transaction for the same company code. This is the one more transaction for my same company code. Now see here. For this, a document got created. For this, a document got created in SAP. What is the document number? Another document number. Document number 1011. This is another document. So when I come here, your transaction currency, document currency, and your company code currency. See, the three different. What is your transaction currency? Here, the transaction currency is nothing but my euro. I am making the transactions in euro, not in USD. So your transaction currency is the euro, and your document currency parallel, it will be euro only because you're posting the document in euro. But your local currency is not a euro. Your local currency is going to be called as USD. Your local currency is going to be called as a USD. Very, very important. So here I'm going to be seeing two different currencies. Here I'm going to be seeing the two different currencies. In this example, USD is the local currency and the transaction code. But here the transaction currency and your local currency both are different. Your transaction currency and the local currencies are both are different. Very, very important, my dear friend. So you mean to say that your document currency and your local currency both are different? 100%. So when I see the balances in my document currency, what is the balance? No, not document currency. Here, transaction currency. What is your balance? 100 euro. Euro, not in USD. But when I want to see the same balances in my USD, I want to see the balances in USD. So when the document got created, the document got created today, 09/29/2021. September 29th, I created this document, Mr. Mahesh. September 29th, the document got posted. So on September 29th, what is the exchange rate? What is the exchange rate between euro to USD and USD to euro? One is going to be called as a direct quotation. Foreign currency to the local currency is going to be called as a direct. Your local currency is the USD, foreign currency, and the local currency to the foreign currency is going to be called as the indirect quotation. Indirect quotation. First one is going to be called as a direct quotation, and the second one is going to be called as the indirect quotation. So now, when I go into the table on 09/29/2021, I already maintain the exchange rates. What is the exchange rate? 1 euro is equal to how many USD dollars? 1.2356 USD dollars. This is the rate I enter. 1 euro is equal to, this is 1 euro. 1 euro is equal to how many USD dollars? This is my USD dollars, USD. Very, very important. This is the direct quotation. This rate you have entered on date of 29/9/2021. Today's rate, it is not yesterday's date, not tomorrow's date. It is yesterday's date. So when you are posting 100 euros into 1.2356, something like that. So your balances in the company code currency will be shown differently. 100 into 1.2356 is going to be called as your local currency. Very, very important, my dear friend. This is very, 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 very important point. So your transactions are good. Here, please.
Sorry, just a question in relation to that transaction currency. So you are basically posting a document within that company code US10, but
Yes,
do you have to maintain that transaction currency euro somewhere prior to making that posting?
Exactly. You're on the point. Yes. Before the posting the document, I need to maintain this exchange rate table. I need to maintain, or I need to enter this exchange rate so that the system is going to pick the exchange rate date on 29/9/2021.
So only direct quotation rates are required. Indirect is not required.
No, it is important to have the both direct and indirect. Both you have to enter. Both you have to enter, direct and indirect. $1 is equal to how much is going to be called as, okay, 0.56 something, it will come, something like this. Is the indirect quotation. This is the indirect quotation. This is the indirect. Direct always will be the foreign currency to the local currency. Indirect always will be a local currency to the foreign currency. Very, very important. So both the rates you have to enter within the ratio of 1:1. Both the ratios should be 1:1 here. So there will be ratio will be different, but for USD to euro, the ratio is going to be 1:1 is going to be the ratio. So these transaction figures will change daily. It's not compulsory that every day 1 euro is equal to 1.2356 USD dollars. No, tomorrow it may be changed. Tomorrow it may be changed to another value. Today, after next 1 hour, the value will be changed to another value. So as on date of today, date of time, it is the 1.2356. The transaction was posted as a transaction. Now 100 into 1.2356. This value, if you into and come over, this value will be called as your local currency, which will be get updated here, something like, okay. So 100.56, something like whatever. This is your local currency. This is your local currency. So how many types of currencies you are seeing here? This is the 10. 10 is always going to be called as a local currency. And what is the document currency? Here, the document currency is the 100. 100 is going to be called as your document currency. That is euro, and that is indicated with 00. That indicates with 00. So now, if I go into the table, of the currency types, here you can see 00 is always going to be called as a document currency. 00 is always going to be called as the document currency. So Mahesh, if I go to the table, Mahesh, can I see the document currency? No, no. You can see the balances in the transaction currency and the transaction currency and the company code currency, global currency. The document currency always will be same as your transaction currency. Always remember, blindly you have to remember that. The document currency means in which currency the document got created. In which currency the document got created. You have posted this document in which currency. The document currency is always going to be called as a USD. So Mahesh, for example, let us think an example like that. Let me take one example. Now I'm posting a transaction F-02. So today is a 29/9/2021. What happened to my cursor? All of a sudden. 29. My company code currency is always USD, but now today I want to post in euro. See here, euro. Euro is nothing but whatever the currency you are entering here. This is called as your document currency. See here. Whatever the time, but my local currency is not euro. My local currency for the company code 1710, my local currency is the USD, but I want to post the transactions in euro. So I'm not giving the rate automatically. The rate has to pick up from my exchange rate tables. Okay. So I'm giving some other references, something like, and I'm giving some account, whatever may be account. I'm giving some account. I'm giving some.
So Mesh, the rate will be always picked up from direct quotation or indirect.
It will always, it will check both the direct and indirect. The value should match with the direct and indirect. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. I'll show that.
Sure.
But both primarily it will be the direct quotation.
Right.
Primarily it will be the direct quotation. All of a sudden the net activity.
So Mahesh, what do you mean by like it should go in two ways? Like
I'm showing the same example now. Yeah. What happened to the server? Yeah. So now see here, I'm entering the account and amount. So what is the document currency I'm entering? It is going to be called as a euro. Now you can see here, I'm seeing both the currencies now, amount and amount in local currency. The amount what you are entering is not in the local currency. If you see here, the amount what you are entering is going to be called as the euro. Okay, the euro amount is going to be 1,000. The euro amount is going to be the 1,000, but the amount in local currency, that is USD, you're not entering the USD local. Let it get calculated automatically. Let it get calculated automatically. So if I go, if I want to
Mahesh, I think so. We are not able to hear you. There must be.
No, I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking.
Okay.
I'm looking into the system. That's what exactly. One second. If you see here, automatically the system has took the exchange rate. See here, automatically it is 1.1700 is the exchange rate. Very, very important. Your translation date is going to be 29/9/2021 is the translation date. As on date of 29/9/2021, what is your exchange rate? Your exchange rate is nothing but it is 1.71000. That is the difference. That is what exactly the direct quotation between the euro to your local currency. What is your local currency? Your local currency is going to be the USD. So now when I double click, automatically it will calculate. See here. So 100 euro, 1000 euros is equal to how many USD? It is a 1170 euros. So 1170 transaction. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. So this value has come automatically. I have not entered this value. I have not entered this value. This value has come automatically and it is sitting over here. Okay, because based on the transaction, what you have posted on the date. Very, very important. So if I'm posting this transaction, if I save it, SAP will create a one document. See, this is the document number 10000085 was posted in the company code 1710. Let me go to the document now. If I go to the document, same document number, see, same document number. Here you can see here, your document currency is a euro. Your document currency is a euro. Let me go to the table now. Copy the same, go to the table, give the document number today, what you have created, change this document number, give the document number 180085. There are two line items will be there. One is the debit line item, another one is the credit line item. Go to the first line item. I'll be giving the same document number. No change in the document number. There will be two line items will be there. One is the debit line item, one is the credit line item. Go to the first debit line item. This is the debit line item. Okay, this is my document number. This is my document number. Now, when you come down, see, when you come down, you can see the difference. Your balances in transaction currency is a euro. And your transaction currency means in which currency you have created a document, and your company code currency is a different. You can see your company code currency is going to be the US. But you can see two different currencies. One is your transaction currency. Another one is going to be called as your local currency. When you come down here, in the value of the table, you can see here, your balances in transaction currency is the 1000 euros, and your transaction currency is going to be called as the $1170. So this balance is in transaction currency, how it is getting converted. Now this is the setting what we have been done. So this is the 00. What is the 00? 00 is nothing but we call it as the document currency. And here the document currency is going to be set at two different levels. One is at a company code level. Another one is going to be called as a global level. Every currency settings, I'll tell you all these things, important things. I'll tell you everything. Okay, one by one I'll come. So there are two types of settings are there for every currency you take. There are two types of settings are there. One is going to be called as a company code specific conversion. Second one is global. What is a global? Global is irrespective of number of company codes. It is applicable for all the company codes. Global is applicable for all the company codes. Very, very important, my dear friends. So there are two types of settings are there. Company code specific. Some currencies you can see this is going to be called as a company code specific. For example, I'll take you one example. There is a one currency setting. There is a one currency ZZ. I created a new currency type ZZ. This is only applicable to US 10, Mr. Mahesh, not for other company codes. Okay, there are other company codes. There are 30 company codes are there. There are 30 company codes are there. But I'm creating a new currency type, which is only required for my company code US 10. So then it has to be made it as a company code specific, not as a global. If you are making it as a global, it is applicable for all other company codes, not only your company code, because you are making the setting at a global level. Global is nothing but it is not the dependent on one company code. It is going to be applicable for all the company codes. So the setting, whatever the setting you are going to be making for your currency type, this has to be made at two different levels. If you're leaving the field empty, if you're not selecting the checkbox, means it is a global level. If you're going to be selecting the checkbox, it is going to be called as a company code specific. Very, very important. It is going to be called as a company code specific. And if you're not selecting the checkbox, it is going to be the global level. So two types are there. So one is going to be called as the 00. One is going to be called as the 00. So you can see it is set at a global level, not at a company code specific. Now, if I go to the global level, just scroll on to the right side. There are two settings will be there. Global currency conversion. What are all the currencies which I set at a global level? This all the currencies I can see at a global currency. What are all the currencies I'm setting at a company code level? The currency settings for a company code. Now, if I come to 00, is it at the global level or company code level? Anybody?
Global.
It's a global. It's a global. So double click on global currency conversion setting. Yes. Global currency conversion setting. Very, very important here. Very, very important. Mahesh, 00 is been set at a global level, Mahesh. Very, very important, but I don't see at a global level. 10 is there, 11 is there, 12 is there, 20 is there, 70 is there, 10, 11, everything. So 10, 11, 12, 20, and other currencies are there. But I don't see the 00 here, Mahesh. It's a global level only, but I don't see the global level. There is no 00 here. Why? Because 00 is always called as a document currency. 00 is always called as a document currency. It should be your source currency, not as a target currency. It should be your source currency. Always it should be your source. Target currency and the source currency. Target currency and the source currency. Very, very important point. Very, very important point. Now come to the same transaction. Where is the AC DOCA table here? Same transaction I'll be showing here. Yeah. The document has posted in which currency? 1000 euro. And the company code currency is the USD. The value is different. The source currency value is different, and the target value is going to be the different. Your target value is nothing but your company code, and your source is nothing but your document currency. Always please remember this. 2 points are very, very important. So I'm seeing the different value in the source currency and in the target currency. How? It is depends upon the table what you have maintained here. It depends upon what the table. So first, let me go into the left 10. I'll explain you the 10. What is the 10? 10 is going to be called as your target currency. Always please remember that. 10 is going to be called as your company code currency. 10 is going to be called as your company code currency. Very, very important. So when the 10 is getting converted, okay, here it is getting converted. Here you can see it is getting converted. It is getting converted to 1170. How it is got converted? What is this value? This value is nothing but it is a USD, Mahesh. The value is nothing but it is a USD. Then why it is showing me the another value here? That currency transaction amount is showing as the 1000. 1000 is not a USD, Mahesh. 1000 is a euro. So here the target currency conversion is nothing but your USD, and the source currency conversion is nothing but euro. Very, very important. What is a euro currency type here when I'm going to be calling it as a document currency? It is a 00 or not? It is a 00, and the target is always going to be called as a 10. 10 is nothing but your USD. So here you can see. So 10, and what is the source you are going to be taking? The source always should be my 00. Very, very important. For especially I'm talking for the 10. 10 is always will be called as your local currency. The local currency conversion should happen on the source currency one. The source currency always should be your 00. You cannot take 30, you cannot take 40, you cannot take 50. Your source currency conversion to the target for the 10 local currency always should be your 00 only. Very, very important question. This is the certification, and in multiple interview question they will ask you this question. What is your source currency for your company code currency 10 times? The answer should be 00 only. Why? Because the currency conversion is happening between the source currency to the local currency, not from the local currency to the source currency. If you see here, you are seeing an amount of 1000 euros and you are seeing the amount of 1700 something like. You're seeing a 1,700 something like that. How do you see this value here? Because based on the source currency only, na? Based on the source currency, you're seeing this amount. So that is the reason whenever there is any currency conversion is happening to my local currency or company code currency, that should always will be happen based on my source currency. That is 00. How? On what base you are telling? How do the system knows, Mr. Mahesh? How do the system knows the value of the source currency 1000 will become as the 1700, 1170? Somewhere you have maintained any exchange rate types or something like that. Yes, definitely. Definitely. So if we go here, exchange rate type and the translation date, and there is an option called as a real-time conversion. Exchange rate type, transaction type, and the real-time conversion. So what is the exchange rate type? There are 3 exchange rate types are there in SAP standard. I'm going to be talking. One is going to be called as a M type, B type. Another one is going to be called as a G type. There will be 3 exchange rate types. SAP standard I'm talking. SAP standard. M is always going to be called as the bank average. B is always going to be called as the bank selling rate. And G is always going to be called as the bank buying rate. Bank buying rate. Selling rate is different and the buying rate is different. Your bank will buy in different rate and bank will sell you the dollars in different rates. And the difference between the delta difference between the bank selling and the bank buying is always going to be called as the bank average. So when you are defining the exchange rates between the direct quotation and the indirect quotation, are you taking the bank average rate, or are you taking the bank selling rate, or are you taking the bank buying rate? Tell me which rate you are going to be considering. So what date I should consider, Mr. Mahesh? You had to specify here. You had to specify so that I can take the bank buying rate or selling rate or bank average rate. If you are define any new exchange rate type, let me know. I can take that exchange rate type. So here you can see whether it is a transaction type, is a bank average or bank selling or bank buying. So which rate you want to update? If you are taking the bank average means, then have you maintained the exchange rates as per the average rate in the exchange rate spreadsheet? If we go to the exchange rate spreadsheet, have you maintained that? Definitely. You have to go and see the settings. You have to go and see the settings. So here you are going to be maintaining what is exchange rate type? That is M. What is currency? From euro, from the direct quotation to indirect, that is USD. So date, let me take the date automatically. Okay. So this is the exchange rate. Okay. So the latest date is from the euro to USD. The latest one is nothing but, okay, you have entered. Okay, 23.8 is the latest one, Mr. Mahesh. 23.8 is the latest one. After that, you have not entered any rates. 23.8 means August 23rd is the final exchange rates you have entered. The direct quotation is 1,170. That is from the euro, from currency to the euro to the USD. So today's rate you are not maintained. That is the reason if we see and go and see the document, the conversion factor between the euro to USD 1,170. It is as per the date. You can see as per the date of 23/8/2021. The latest one is 1,170. This is the bank average. This is M. M is nothing but bank average. This average rate I am maintaining here in the translation type. So I want to take the bank average. So automatically when you are updating the bank average here, automatically when you are updating the bank average, it will go to the system, it will go to the exchange rate, and it will see for M, what is the latest date? 23 is the latest. After 23, you're not entered any rate. So this is the latest one, and it will pick up this value and it will post the document, and you can see the document got updated with 1,170. That is $1 is equal to 1,070. 1,000 into 1,000 into 1,000, 1,000 into what is the rate? 1,170. The rate is going to be coming. This is the total value of your USD amount, currency conversion. So here, this is the target and this is the source. So have you maintained or not? Yes, I have maintained. So the source is going to be the 00, and the target is going to be called as a 10. And what is the date? Translation date. What is the translation date? If I go to the document, your translation date, okay, you're entered. What is the translation date? Your translation date is 29/9/2021 is nothing but your translation. What is the exchange rate? See, automatic system is taking 1,170 is nothing but your exchange rate, your translation date, and this is the posting date. You can see as on date of today, the dollar value to the euro value is 1,170. How it has got posted? It is got posted based on the global parameter, how the exchange rate type settings are going to be maintained.
So Mahesh,
Just a Mahesh question again.
Yeah, please.
What if there is a same currency, the translation date, will that come as a blank then in the document?
Can you come again, sir? I'm not getting.
So if you post a document and the document currency is a same as the company code currency, does that mean that translation date? So when you click on that header thing and you showed the translation date, will that come as a blank then? Because there is no translation because it's USD to USD or INR to INR. Am I right?
Yes, correct. But here the translation date is applicable when there is having a currency conversion. If you're posting to the local currency, by default, it will take the posting date only. By default, because even though you are not doing the euro to euro or INR, so euro to USD, if the local currency postings are happening, so like example I told about, the like example, 1 second. One example, if you see this example, not foreign currency, if it is a local currency, there is no transaction. There is no transaction. So the currency you're posted in the local currency only. The currency you're posted in the local currency. So now you can see there is no transaction here. You can see this is empty. No transaction. You can see the posting date. You can see the document date.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. Mahesh, quick question. So you've seen that the translation date is today, but you have not maintained the exchange rate for today, right? So ideally it should take 23/8/2021, right?
Exactly. I come to your question, sir, now. Exactly. You're right. Your point is right. Okay. So here your question is, your translation date is coming as a 29/9/2021. How it is coming? Okay, it should be the 28. When it will come as a 28, if I'm maintaining the transactions, if I go to F-02, if I'm maintaining the date, today's date, okay, so this is my document date creation and the posting date creation. And here I'm maintaining a euro. I'm not maintaining any rate. If you are going to be entering the translation date as 28/08/2021, if you're entering manually, there are 3 dates are there. There are 3 dates are there. I'll tell you 3 dates. One is 28/08/2021, 01/09/2021, and 15/09/2021. There are 3 dates are there. On the date 1, the euro to USD is 1.7121. On the date 109 is 1.235 something. There is a decrease is there. On the date 15, it is 1.563 something is there. There are 3 difference. Okay, there are 3 difference are there. So today I'm posting a document that is 29/09/2029. Today I'm posting a document. I want to take the translation as on. I want to take the translation as on 019/2021. By my posting date is 29 today, but I want to take, but okay, let me take the 29 also. Let me take the 29/09/2021. 21. Today also enter the rate. Today the rate is 1.456 something is there. Today's rate. This is the today's latest date. Now I'm posting a document on 29/9/2021, but I want to take the translation not as on 21, that is 1.456. I want to take the translation as on 1.235. So here I'm going to be taking the date as not on today's date. I will be taking as 01/09/2021. The system will automatically, so that then the translation date will not be the same date. Your translation date will not be the same date. Your translation date, here I made a mistake. Okay, this is not 21. So date, my document date and the posting date is on today's date only. But my translation date I'm taking as a 01/09/2021. So when I'm posting the euro to USD, that system will pick up this value. The system, what it will do, it will pick up this value. How much? 1.235. So here it will come it as $1.2356. This is what exactly the translation date, what I'm going to be talking. If you're not entering any rates, if you're not giving any translation, the system will pick up the latest translation date and what is the latest which you updated, okay, on 29. So the posting date will become your translation date automatically. Clear, Sana?
Yep.
Yeah, Mahesh, can you explain indirect quotation rate, how that is used?
What's that?
Indirect quotation, can you explain a little bit how that is used? Indirect quotation.
Yes, exactly. So the ratio should be taken into consideration, sir. Always the ratio should be taken into consideration. In some Japanese yen to, for example, there is a JPY is there. I'll take a ratio. See here, I'll take a ratio. Always depends upon the ratio. This is 1:1 ratio. Ratio is 1:1 ratio. This is 1:1 ratio. This is 1:1 ratio. If I see the ratio, there is a ratio called as a GBP to COP. Okay, Cambodian. Okay, GBP to Cambodian. So 1 Great Britain pound is equal to 1,000. Ratio is different. You can see it should be the 1:1. But here in some cases, when there is a ratio is the difference between 1:1 to 1:1,000, then the direct quotation and indirect quotation is going to be changing here. So if I'm going to be having a different ratio, so the direct and the indirect quotation always depends upon what type of ratio you're going to be taking here. So when you want to do the currency translation, the direct quotation and the indirect quotation should be updated based on the ratio you updated. If the ratio is 1:100, if the ratio is 1:100, then your indirect quotation is going to be changing. Not just like same what we are going to be using the euro to USD. Why? Because it is a 1 Japanese yen or 1 GBP. 1 GBP. 1 GBP is equal to how many Cambodian dollars? And 1 Cambodian dollar is equal to into 100 I'm going to be taking. Why? Because the inflation rate is very low comparing with the GBP, Great Britain pound. So the indirect quotation, what I'm going to be taking should be based on your ratio. So it is 1:1. So $1 is equal to how many euros? 0.563 is the euro. So whenever you are doing any currency translation, you have to maintain both euro to USD and USD to euro. It should be on the direct and indirect. Then the system will not consider. If I forgotten, Mahesh, I entered only the direct. I forgotten to enter the indirect. I left this field empty. I don't want, okay, I left this field empty. System will throw an error. Because it is not having the indirect quotation to your local currency. The translation factor is missing for you to quote the transaction. So it cannot consider the direct quotation. You should also enter the indirect quotation also for taking the currency conversion.
So this mapping, one-to-one mapping, how do you know, Mahesh? Like,
bank will be giving the rates and dollars to you every day, every night at 12 a.m. So they will be sending you an exchange rate spreadsheet. So you have to upload that exchange rate spreadsheet in your table. So daily the end user job is going to be the same.
There's no RFC connection or anything like that. It is manual load only, right?
Manual and RFC connection will be there. Okay, there will be a batch job is going to be running every day. So automatically through the batch job file is getting uploaded, or if you want to upload manually, you can also do manually also.
Okay.
Here, I explained only one type today. I explained only one type. This all the entire class went on 00 only, 00 to 10. Any doubts here?
Mahesh, can we say that the balance transaction currency and transaction currency will always be the same?
All will be the same.
Currency wise.
Exactly.
There is
You're
just a
absolutely
difference of source and target only, right?
difference in source and target is when transaction amount to the company code currency.
Okay.
Clear? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, all of you. Take a great day. Okay. Bye. Tomorrow we'll see that.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.